Oh hey, how you going? Welcome back to another HP Gaming GameLINK video. Yes, I am in our kitchen, go figure. It's a very odd thing because we have had to break down the studio and convert things into a nursery. Yes, that's right, the tribe of gamers here in this house are going to be growing by one, but we are not resting in our laurels. No. We apologize for the hiatus, but we're very excited to get back into it and show you what we've been working on, what we've been playing, and basically have some more epic board game fun times. To that end, the kitchen is a place where we as gamers like to fetch snacks whenever it is that we head out into the board game wonderlands. And this is no exception, although in this case, a company that we have reviewed and unboxed contents for in the past has provided us with something that combines both of those, even if it is relying solely on vegetarian, well, you'll see what I mean. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a review for a game that requires a little bit of finesse, a little bit of strategy, and of course, one of these. What am I talking about? I'm talking about kids' table board games, Diced Veggies. Welcome back, all you wonderful people. Thank you for joining me. If you don't know my name by now, my name is Matt, and I'm sure we're going to become the very best of friends. As I said, it has been a bit of a crazy time for us here at HP Gaming. We have been cooking up our own little side dish. Our third child will be arriving in the very not too distant future in about approximately 2 weeks' time from today's shoot. So it's been a bit crazy converting places into nurseries, things like that. So I apologize for the absence, but we will always strive to provide some epic board game content, and this is no exception. Kids Table Board Games have provided some amazing content for us in the past. The first one we encountered of theirs was, of course, Fossilis. You can watch a playthrough of that video here. And of course, you can see Charlotte and I go head-to-head in that video. There is also the Power Plants and the Epic Creature Comforts, which has been followed up by Maple Valley. Now, when I backed Maple Valley, got involved, they had the option to add on a small box game, such as this one that you see behind me, Diced Veggies. What is Diced Veggies all about? Effectively, this is a game where 1 to 4 players, yes, there is a solo mode, go head-to-head in the kitchen to create the most amazing recipes they possibly can using, funnily enough, diced veggies. And I mean that in both the literal and figurative sense. This is a game where you will use your resources and your cunning to outsmart your other chefs, create as many recipes as quickly as possible and score those sweet points, all the while trying to hype up your recipes to maximize their impressiveness. If you have a look at the contents, there's not much to it. This is literally everything you see here. You have a deck of recipe cards, you have a deck of hype cards, you have a rack to store dice that have been discarded. You have a series of chef tokens, which are colors on one side and numbers on another, which allows you to effectively create dice as wilds. You have a meat cleaver, which of course is used to cut away from the block. And of course you have the block, which is a number of dice in different colors and denominations, designed to mess with your head in the puzzly aspect of this game. On your turn, you will cut from the block, you will cook if you can, and then you will card up. And those 3 steps will continue round by round, player by player, until someone completes 6 recipes. Once one player completes 6 recipes, everyone gets one final turn. The game will end and the person with the most points will be declared the Grand Chef, Head Chef, or Chef Supreme, however you want to call it. It's a very simple game, very easy to pick up and play, and there is a kids-friendly mode as well, which is awesome. Although I will say here in this house, we don't play with the kids' rules because our kids have grown up playing games, and to be honest, they can hold their own. So that's the overview, that's the basic gist of this game. Is it any good? That's the big question, that's what you're all here to know. Short answer, wait for it, yes. Yes, it is. Emphatically so. This is a game that is pick up and play, not a lot of components, not a lot to think about, but after a turn or two, the strategy will set in and you will find yourself cursing those other chefs that take those die that you want for your recipe. The way it works, when you cut, you take the cleaver in question and you have a look at the dice here and you can see there are different values. There's no single value on the die faces. They go from 2, I think it's 2 2s, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that of course comes into play with certain recipes that require you, or hype cards that require you to have those numbers in your recipes. The recipe card will show, as you can see here, the beef bourguignon will require 2 mushrooms and 2 carrots. If you have a look here, the mushroom dice are these ones here. The carrots are obviously the orange, you have tomato, you have onion, and then of course the green are peppers, or chilies, or jalapeno, whatever you want to call them, depending on where you are in the world. So if I'm cooking this recipe here, the beef bourguignon, I need to select at least two of the mushroom, 2 of the carrot, and I need to do so as quickly as possible to score myself a sweet 7 points, which is nice. If I wanted to, I could pair it with a hype card. You will never ever find a better beef bourguignon. All the numbers must be different, which means every dice has to have a different value, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Okay, how do I cut from the block, I hear you ask? There's a certain rule. You only get to make 1 slice, 1 incision. You can cut and then slide to get rid of some dice. So for example, if I wanted to get the 2 carrots up here, and I see these 2 carrots here, I would very carefully place the cleaver in the middle here and slide away those 2 dice. So I've made 1 cut and pushed, and then I can take those dice, place them on the card, and get ready to score some points. In terms of no-nos, I couldn't take this 3 dice here. I couldn't go cut, 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 because it requires 3 cuts to take that 1 die out of the way. So we can't do that. In addition, any dice you take cannot total more than 10 on their face values. So for example, if I'm looking at these dice here, I couldn't, for example, cut away the pepper and the mushroom because they total 11. Other than that, once you cut, you bring your recipe card back. The next phase of your turn will be to cook. So if I have, say, for example, let's just say for argument's sake, I have completed all the dice requirements for my recipe, I can cook that recipe. I take the die, take the die off the card, roll them into the block, therefore giving us new totals, turn the recipe face down, and then I've got that recipe in the bank and I can score those sweet points at the end game. Step 2 is complete when you finish cooking, if you can. Otherwise, you move on to the 3rd step, which is card. Now, at any one given time, you may only have 2 recipe cards and 2 hype cards. Hype cards can be kept secret, or you can play open-handed. It's not a huge issue. If you want to card up, you need to have a vacant spot, and you can only have 8 die in front of you. You don't have to assign them to a card until you're ready to cook. But if you have more than 8 dice, you have to discard down. Likewise with the recipe cards, if I'd cooked that recipe and I had a vacant spot, I can take one of the cards from the 3 face-up recipes, the bruschetta maybe, cheap, quick and nasty, or I can take a blind card from there and score myself some sweet ramen to cook. As I said, once you've completed your card turn, the cleaver passes to the next player in turn order, and play continues until someone completes 6 recipes, and everyone gets 1 last turn, and the end game begins. Tallying up points is pretty straightforward. You just tally up as it says. The victory points of the cards will tell you how much a recipe is worth. The hype cards will tell you whether it's a singular value, i.e. 5 points for completing a card, or 2 points for each ingredient in the recipe, provided that it works in your favor. Some of the recipe cards have just 3 dice requirements. Some of them require 6, and then of course they're worth much more points. Very simple to pick up, very simple to play, very simple to understand. There's also one other small factor to consider here. What happens when I'm looking for a tomato and there's no tomatoes left in the block? Well, that is when you can, at the beginning of your turn, and only if there's 1 ingredient missing, restock. And that is where you take all of the discarded dice and then you frame them up so they're in a pattern, and then you add them to the block. So basically you get those sweet opportunities to get those ingredients that you might otherwise miss out on. It also means you can use these tokens here. So for example, if I have the onion here, the onion pacoris, and I have these dice at my disposal with a tomato, I can use this token to make that wild into an onion, to cook that recipe. If I need all the numbers to include a 5 or a 6, and I have a 5 here, I can use this die to change the die value to a 6. That token then gets discarded. However, if any one player restocks, everyone who spent their token gets it back. So don't be worried about saving them for a rainy day. And that's it. That's pretty much all there is to it in terms of Dice Veggies, how it works, how it plays. As I said, very simple, very easy to pick up and play. And once you get into it, very, very competitive, as we found at our home. Final verdict on this one. The quality on the production is great. They could have had straightforward die that were printed with maybe little symbols of each and different ingredient. I like the fact that they've got pips because it's easy, it's concise, easy to see, very clear, and everyone knows what's going on at the table. The fact that they are etched and then painted just gives it a bit more of a feel. Bright, vibrant colors to match the vegetables they represent is fantastic. But that's not a surprise. Kids Table Board Gaming have production value in spades across all of their titles, and this is no exception. Simple as it is, simple components, good quality cardstock. The art on the recipe cards is fantastic. The tokens are okay, just standard chipboard, but they don't need to be anything spectacular. The cleaver is polarizing, I will say that. Most players have found it to be quite a gimmick and a bit of fun. Some players have found it to be annoying. Mind you, those players that found it to be annoying were usually coming last as the game progressed. But yes, production-wise, it's fantastic as always. Gameplay-wise, mechanically speaking, as I said, very easy to pick up and play. We've had quite a few games of this since we received it. We took it away with us. We managed to get away for one last hurrah before baby comes, and it impressed even those non-gamers among us. And it was one of those things where we just had, just one more game. Can we have one more round? Quick play time, half hour, 45 minutes tops. And there is a solo mode, but that's more of a score attack, not really a competitive mode. And there's a section of the rulebook where you can compare your score and work out how much of a veggie master or not you are. Kids Table Board Gaming have done games designed specifically for young kids to play. This one, however, I think appeals to not just kids but also adults alike. I found that a lot of folks in the adult category have really enjoyed this one and really gotten into the guts of it as well. Sunk their teeth in, not to be too punny, to this particular title. Is it something that is going to be game of the year? No, I don't think so. But is it something you're going to get out when you get people around and you're sitting around the table after you've had a meal in between maybe mains and dessert? Yes, absolutely. It's a great filler game. And I think if I was to sit down and have a massive games day where I've got some big slog games like your Nemesis or even Distilled or some other big titles, ISS Vanguard, things like that, having this as a filler in between rounds is a great way to break up the dense or slog fest of some of those larger games, particularly if one of those games is Risk. To surmise and to bring it up into summation, I guess, Kids Table Board Gaming done it again. I'm looking forward to their, well, it's not called Wasabi anymore, it's called something else, which is a shame. Their next title on Kickstarter has just finished funding in spectacular fashion. Looking forward to that. And maybe, just maybe, I'm trying to get my hands on one of their other titles as well, which involves a bit of a haunted mansion situation. But if you have any questions about this one, by all means pop them in the comments below. If you have any questions about, or if you'd like to see us maybe give this one a whirl and do a playthrough, by all means please let us know in the comments. Make sure you, if you haven't already, click that like and subscribe button. And always remember too, we are offering memberships. So we've got some members only content already up on the YouTube channel. There'll be some more private playthroughs and other bits and pieces that people have requested going up in the not too distant future once we get settled with our new edition. Thanks very much for watching, folks. There's plenty more content on the channel, so by all means click around, see what you can find. You might find something you like, your next favorite board game. Could be just around the corner. Until then, folks, get out there, play more games, be social, have fun, be kind, always be kind. And we'll see you back here either at the kitchen table or at the main gaming table with more epic board game content in the not too distant future. Until then, it is bye for now.